Good morning, and welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation services. I'm Tyra. I'm honored to be of service this morning to you. I hope our services bring you happy and healthy. Know that if you're struggling or if you're having challenges, we hope the Temple Buddhist Center can be a source of refuge where you can open your hearts and feel loved. This morning, we'd like to take a moment to think about conscious breathing. Let's begin with a few conscious breaths, taking a few moments to ground, to experience the body, to breathe together as a Sangha. Conscious breathing is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, and pause for a moment. Let's take a moment. Just kind of breathe, pause. Feeling the fullness of the lungs. Releasing slowly as you release. Checking in with your body. Just being aware of what is present and alive right now in the present moment. Breathing in. Deep from the lungs, and exhale. As we take our second conscious breath, pause for just a moment. As you release, no worries, no concerns, just breathe. Striving to accomplish whatever is in your heart, just allow yourself for a few moments to cultivate the energy of the now. And as we take our third breath, pause for a moment. With your mouth sealed, breathing through the nose. Taking the time to invite awareness, the present moment, fully arriving in the here and now. We don't have any children here this morning, so, okay. I was hoping our children would be here, but we don't have any this morning, so we'll move forward. Here at TBC, we practice Western Buddhism, a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. This new and exciting form of spirituality is inclusive, is active, and it focuses on the core Buddhist insights: mindfulness, meditation, and their practical application in our daily lives. Our goal here isn't to get everyone to agree on one lineage or philosophy. Rather, it's to cultivate a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting or meditating or sharing from our hearts, we respect that you'll participate only at the level where you are comfortable. Okay. I'd like to take refuge in our three jewels. Our three jewels are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our own Buddha nature. The Buddha. The Buddha nature of all beings, allowing a new perspective of this in its very precious moment. The second jewel is the Dharma. It's the teaching that releases us from fear and delusion. It helps us to realize the true nature of who we are. And then there's the Sangha, the community, you and I, an essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and support each other, lend on one another, talk to one another, greet one another. And we do this in every step of each day, not just here, but out in our community as a Sangha. If you'll take this time to silence your electronics, so take this time and check on your phone, you're watchful, I'm guilty of that, and silence it, okay? Let's prepare for the prayer of refuge. We'll recite these together 3 times. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power, generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power, generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power, generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. As we enter a time of meditation, if you have an extensive practice, we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. You can come up front if you like. If you are new to meditation, then we will begin with an opening dedication. We will sound the bell 3 times. There will be a brief guided meditation, and then we spend approximately 12 to 15 minutes in noble silence. Let's begin by breathing together. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who you are.
And so as the sound of the bell recedes, taking us deeper into stillness, it's a wonderful guide, slow, steady. With every out-breath, we relax even more deeply. If necessary, you can take another deep breath or adjust your posture, stretch, whatever is necessary to partner with the body to find a space that's more gentle, easy, relaxing the forehead and the eyebrows, letting the shoulders drop, arms are graceful at the side, the belly softens. Each out-breath brings a new level to our relaxation and our gentleness, our ease. And so as the breath settles in now to its natural flow, its natural rhythm, we notice the rise and fall of the tummy. Not manipulating the breath in any way, just noticing, being aware of how the body is completely automatic. And so, connected to the breath by being aware of the rise and fall of the tummy, we can check one more time to make sure there's no points of tension or contraction. Any tense muscles, contracted muscles. We simply breathe through and allow them to release. And so connected to the breath in this way, the body is gentle, easy, spacious, light. We can bring our awareness now to awareness itself. Noticing when the mind becomes distracted by a sound, perhaps in the room or outside in the hallway or on the street. Noticing when the mind becomes interested and curious in a sensation like an itch or an ache or a rumble, tummy rumble. Or becoming aware of when the mind again becomes obsessed with a thought or even a string of thoughts. All of these things come and go, rise and fall, appear and disappear. Our practice is to put space around all of that, to be the knower, not that which is known. Giving ourselves full and complete permission to unplug from all of the striving and going and doing, as together we cultivate being. And that's true connection. Being together. Out beyond right and wrong, good and bad, gay, straight, Republican, liberal, tall, short. None of those things matter in being. It is simply light connecting with light. And so from here, we can move more deeply into our stillness, into the meditation. I close my eyes and I see clearly. I stop trying to listen and I hear truth. I am silent, yet my heart sings. I seek no contact and find union. I am still and move forward. I am gentle and need no strength. I am humble and remain whole, returning again and again to the breath, returning again and again home. And so I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sound, noticing the sound of my voice or the sound of the air handlers in the room. And as you become aware of sound, at the same time, can you keep 5% of your awareness on the silence within? Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of touch. As you become aware of the feeling of your clothing upon your skin, or the feeling of the chair or the cushion beneath you, and as you become aware of matter, material, form, at the same time, can you keep 5% of your awareness on that which is formless? In other words, awareness of awareness. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sight. As you slowly begin to open your eyes, just allowing in some light, not focusing hard on anything, just letting the objects come to you. And as you become aware of things and stuff and walls and chairs and objects, at the same time, can you keep 5% of your awareness on the space around them? The space in this room. The space around the building. And even the space around our planet. You do not have to be in it to be aware of it. And next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense, to your breath. As we all take a conscious breath together, breathing in. And slowly releasing, and as we release, the sound of the bell will bring us out of our meditation. It is the return bell. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Tyra. Thank you so much, Christine. It's nice to be with everybody and glad you could make it in. And of course, a big welcome to all of our Sangha members joining us from afar. Those folks joining us over the streaming. I think in some cases, it might even be international. We had somebody from Canada and Switzerland at one point, Oklahoma, all those foreign countries. Just kidding. So, as many of you guys know, my Dharma talks tend to come from my life, from my experiences, what is alive for me in that moment. And so recently I've had many people asking me about, or texting me and emailing, all the different forms of communication, asking me questions about deepening their practice, or perhaps taking their practice to the next level. And so with that, I decided to go ahead and table my Dharma talk on the key to enlightenment. And instead, I'm going to talk today about this idea of moving on to the next level. So, okay, so that was supposed to be a joke. The key to enlightenment would technically be a pretty important Dharma talk. However, what we know is that it's every Dharma talk, it's every moment, it's every encounter that is the key to enlightenment. So with that, I'm going to fire my writers and move on to our talk today. So the term Dharma, Dharma. Many of you guys are very familiar with that term, D-H-A-R-M-A. And if you've been perhaps not practicing very long, it might be fairly new, or if you've been practicing a long time, you've heard the term many times. But I want to make sure that everyone understands that Dharma has two meanings. There are two meanings to this term Dharma. So first are, of course, the Dharma teachings themselves. These are the written teachings of the Buddha and the written teachings of the many masters who have come since. They are the magazine articles and the different books, the YouTube videos that we sometimes look at that come from our different teachers and spiritual leaders. And then the second meaning of the word Dharma is the truth of this moment. See, there is a reality, but most folks are unable to experience that because they are caught up in mind states. As Kalu Rinpoche used to say, we live in illusion and the appearance of things. There is a reality. We are that reality, and when we understand this, you see that you are nothing, and in seeing that you are nothing, you become everything, and that's all there is. So in our spiritual journey, we must be pragmatic. In other words, we approach situations and experiences with this question: how can the Dharma and the paths of practice that we encounter be useful to your own understanding, to your own growth, change, transformation, and practice? If we get caught up in judging all the different forms, then we lose sight of the lesson that is there in front of us. I was having a discussion with one of the members of Sangha the other day about good and bad Dharma talks. And the truth is there isn't really such a thing as a good or bad Dharma talk. Only ones that resonate with your heart and ones that don't. But if we get caught up in the judging, then it's like in the Chinese practice, they have this old saying about the transmission of the Dharma, which they always talk about the finger pointing to the moon being truth. And so in this little teaching, they always tell you, be careful, don't get caught up in all the different fingers and lose sight of the moon itself. The Dharma itself does not change, regardless of teacher, method, practice, technique. The Dharma does not change. Meditation must be used as a tool to come to the freedom beyond all tools, beyond all methods, beyond all teachers. As Jack Kornfield says, meditation techniques are mental disciplines that allow us to calm, focus, and examine the mind. This deconditioning process is a slowing down and an observation of the usual mad monkey mind, which is always a stream of thoughts, perceptions, reactions, feelings. Usually we are dragged along by our desires, our prejudices, our conditioning, and our instincts. Meditation is practicing being clear and alert, aware, freeing ourselves from conditioned reactions to the constant flow of all these mental processes. So, what Jack is pointing at here in this description is that with a commitment to a regular meditation practice, with a commitment to mindfulness, time with Sangha, going on retreats, and of course our studies, the meditator begins to see all events of the mind and body as an empty process that simply happens by itself. To see this clearly, to experience deeply the true emptiness of self, is enormously freeing. To see all of this clearly, the mind becomes detached, clear, radiant, as they say in the sutras, unfettered. This is the difference between pain and suffering. This is the difference where our teachers become everyone we meet. Mind states are felt before we react, and the feeling nature of thoughts are sensed before we speak. There even comes a point when we no longer have to do the practice, it does us. So like the piano player that must go through months, if not years, of scales and rules, only to eventually be able to completely break them. In the same way, we transition from practice as form to practice as a way of life. But it is delusions of permanence, delusions of happiness, delusions of, oh, if I just get a degree from Naropa University in Buddhist studies, then I'll understand all of this. It's that belief that it's the next thing that's going to do it. You see the attaching, the clinging to that, which is very different from simply moving where our heart resonates us to maybe a day-long retreat. Maybe we decide to go on a 7-day retreat at Spirit Rock, but it's the clinging, it's the attachment, it's what you think it's going to do for you that always keeps it just out of reach. So, how then may we deepen our practice? This is not an unskillful desire. The universe wants us to wake up and provides us with a very effective mechanism called suffering, which includes longing, that longing to do better, to deepen the practice, that longing to connect. I love what Eckhart Tolle says. He talks about we only know night because of day, we only know hot because of cold, and we only know mortality because some aspect of us is immortal. That's that light. That's the divinity that we are. Even Rumi, in his poem, The Love Dog, where the main character in the poem would throw open the shutters and cry out the name of Allah every day, only to have a friend come and say, why are you wasting your time? He never answers you. And so the first time that he stopped, the first day that he stopped, is when he got this voice that said, why did you stop? He says, because you never answered me. He says, oh, my child, I answered you every time. It's in the longing that I answered you, that desire to connect with what we know, or not know mentally, but know in our hearts, is our true connection with all that is. And so, with this longing, we continue seeking. However, we confuse or misinterpret these emotions of longing, thinking that it's someone or something or some place that's going to fill that. And it's in the longing itself that we find our answers. And we also, as human beings, confuse knowledge with wisdom. They are not the same. Knowledge is infinite. Modern science fills libraries every year with its new discoveries. Spiritual knowledge is equally vast. One can know past lives of individuals, the effects of planets on current lives. They can know, for example, the existence of other planes of being, higher levels of consciousness, spiritual healing techniques, and endless other topics. But knowledge is not wisdom. Mark Nepo, one of my favorite poets, really sums this up well in this little passage that he calls the practice before the practice. In Japan, before an apprentice can clay up his hands and work with the wheel, he must watch the master potter for years. In Hawaii, before a young man can ever steer a boat, he must sit on the cliff of his ancestors and simply watch the ocean. In Africa, before the children are allowed to drum, they must rub the length of skin stretched over wood and dream of the animal whose heart will guide their hands. In Vienna, the prodigy must visit the piano maker before ever fingering a scale to see how the keys are carved into place. And in Switzerland, legend has it that before the watchmaker can couple his tiny gears together, he must sit long enough to feel the passage of time. Wisdom is simply being in harmony with the here and now. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Mindful of the flow, the wise person is not deluded. Their life is in perfect harmony with the Four Noble Truths. The happiness that comes from wisdom is beyond all knowledge and power. It is the happiness of true inner peace, a happiness that does not waver with the constant change of mental and physical worldly phenomena. So how then may we cultivate wisdom? There are two basic attitudes towards cultivating wisdom. One is to strive very hard to achieve concentration of mind and enlightenment. Work, study, meditate vigorously. The second approach is that there is nothing to gain and nowhere to go. The very effort you make to be enlightened will prevent wisdom from arising. Simply be. Let go. Watch. Observe. The path of trying to gain wisdom and the path of just being in the moment both lead to the same place. We could say that wisdom is developed from concentration and insight meditation, and equally we can say that wisdom is simply the natural state of the mind. Once we have let go of our habits, desires, distractions, all of those things that bind us, wisdom automatically appears. Now, choosing an approach is much a matter of one's personal style and karma, and for some, a strict teacher and the rigorous discipline and a goal-oriented practice are the correct path. This often balances with their own internal lack of discipline. For others, particularly goal-oriented folks, then the predominant expression for them is attainment. This is the next book, the next article, the next retreat, the next teacher. For these folks, the practices of letting go and just sitting and watching are a balance for their habitual striving and efforting and acquiring. bringing mind into balance is the essence of meditation. Striving, not striving, both can bring balance. Eventually, whatever practice one follows, one must let go of even the practice of letting go. For myself, it was probably the former. I came to the practice like many folks, through crisis. Everything was falling apart in my life. There wasn't even a ground of reality for me to get a hold of. It was a free fall. And so I began seeing a therapist who said, after 2 or 3 visits, he said, "Victor, I don't think you're having a mental crisis. I think you're having a spiritual one. So I want you to go see my friend Ben at the American Buddhist Center." And he based this recommendation because of the things I was saying about, I'm so not Zen, as if I actually knew what Zen was at that point. I'm everywhere but here. And so he decided that it would be best for me to go see a teacher. I came to the American Buddhist Center here back in 2004. And I'll never forget simply walking into my first class and listening to the teachings and being present with that community. It was like I found my tribe. This is it. I felt instant connection, far beyond any labels that we could put on anybody. And my teacher, Ben, was rigorous. And over time, he came to know my mind, which meant there was no place for me to hide. I could not fool myself. I mean, I could fool myself easily, but I could not fool Ben. He knew exactly where to poke. How many times I was, damn it, Ben. So in seeking out a teacher, a skillful, good teacher, you're going to know because they're not going to add anything to you. They're going to meet you where you are. A good teacher is going to piss you off. And so that's where courage on your part shows up. The courage to come back. The courage to listen to things you don't want to hear. Because a good teacher is going to provide a perspective on something that you can't see, is going to provide and show you where you are deluded. Not add anything to you, but simply help you see what you can't see, and sometimes help you see what you don't want to see. So if you come across a teacher that makes you angry and you feel naked and you feel absolutely bared open, that's the right one. How many times I've seen people come to my teacher only to run out of the room cussing him in every language you can, never to return. And again, in our practice, that was perfect, because they'll continue seeking and seeking and seeking until they suddenly realize that I'm addicted to seeking. And then they come back and they are open to whatever it is that is placed in front of them, to whatever it is that is related to them, whatever it is that helps them to grow, change, transform. And so, my friends, until then, we meditate, we practice mindfulness, we practice ethical conduct, which means to the best we can, we do what's right. Try to stay away from single-use plastics and try to vote and try to eat and take care of the body and exercise and open doors and be kind to people. That's sila, that's ethical conduct. We connect with sangha, and that may include a teacher, whether it's Robert or myself or the person sitting next to you. We attend retreats and we continue our studies. And we walk the path together. As Ram Dass said, we're all just walking each other home. And so with that, I will sound the Dharma bell. And if you need to, you can shift your posture, you can stretch, you can wiggle. As we move into the next portion of our service this morning, our loving kindness or our heart practice. And a heart practice is not an intellectual practice. Up to the simple fact of holding an image in your imagination, that's all that could be considered conceptual or intellectual or mind-based. The rest comes from the heart. And as a way to honor that, many people consider an outward gesture, such as an Anjali mudra, placing a hand on the heart, perhaps flipping the palms upward on your lap, just opening yourself up and allowing not only to share that heart that you have cultivated with the world, but to receive. And that's another form of dana. And so, let's take a conscious breath together. And as you release that breath, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of you, a full body image of the form that has been given your name, that has accrued the many experiences over the years. Holding this image in your mind's eye, I invite you to recite silently to yourself these words of loving kindness practice or metta practice. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a friend of yours. Holding this image of your friend in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of an acquaintance, someone that you have met recently, or perhaps a clerk or a cashier. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a difficult person in your life, a challenging person, perhaps a boss or a co-worker, a classmate, a neighbor, or a political figure. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, now I invite you to bring to mind the image of the world, all the plants and the flowers and the trees, the animals of the land, the sea, the sky, and all sentient beings. Holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And in the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge will find it here, in this temple, with these teachers, with these teachings, and with this Sangha. The dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall, and we take a moment of tremendous gratitude for all of our wonderful ambassadors who have committed themselves to regular monthly electronic giving. You can become an ambassador. Just stop by our website and click on the Love Offering button. Gratitude for all of our wonderful volunteers who help us each and every day to bring spiritual nourishment, spiritual enrichment, opportunities for Sangha to come together through all of our different classes and workshops and retreats and daily practices. Also, tremendous gratitude to Christine. Thank you, Christine, for your beautiful music. Thank you, Tyra, so much for assisting today on platform. Eric with media and helping send the word over the airwaves throughout the world. Thank you, Dave, so much for all of your help. And of course, thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart, your presence, and your practice with all of us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We certainly are the better for it. And so, as we prepare to end our service together this morning with the Bodhicitta dedication, and also all of our friends up in the heavenly abodes up there, we will say this together, and then I will sound the closing bell, and then I have just a few brief announcements, and our timing is perfect. We have just enough time for exactly 30 seconds of announcements. As if I could do that. Here we go. Together, the Bodhicitta dedication. May the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with the palms of our hands together in front of our hearts, as we go forth now from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. All right, thank you everyone so much. Don't forget, starting up very soon, I think it's next week, is our Basics of Buddhism class. This is a wonderful class. It is designed to work for folks who maybe are brand new to Buddhism or who might even be at an intermediate level, covering all kinds of topics and history, even some various words that are used and defining those. So it's a wonderful class. Please go online and get registered for that if you have some interest. I believe there are about 5 spots left. He likes to cap it at about 15 so that folks can get all their questions and sharings answered. When we go past that, it gets kind of hard. So please sign up for that. Thank you, Kyle, who helps to facilitate that. Don't forget, right after the service, all of our services, there's crumble cookies and coffee downstairs waiting for you. Take that opportunity to connect with members of the Sangha, or you could also come to our post-service discussion group, where we take the teachings of the day and share with each other how those can be applied in our lives. Thank you, Carrie, so much. Is she here this morning? Carrie, she's here one of the services. And of course, finally, just all of the different things going on here at Temple Buddhist Center. I will keep this page up so you can take a picture of it if you would like to, and that way keep on top of things. We do have a quarterly day-long retreat coming up. Right now we're looking at November 19th, and so I'm double checking to make sure facilities are on board with us. And then of course we're going to have our New Year's retreat, which is a 4-day silent meditation retreat. All opportunities to deepen your practice. If you would like more opportunities, please send me an email, victordougherty@unitytemple.com, and I can turn you on to other retreats and things going on around the area. Again, thank you everybody so much for being here, and as you go into your day, peace and blessings and umbrellas.